Hi, I'm sick. It's probably going to be a reoccurring theme on this channel. I mean, it's how I thought of such a clever name. But I actually am sick, like I caught a cold or something. I think it was my daughter. She had something and now I think I caught whatever she had. So I wasn't going to upload or film today, but then I saw the jump in subscribers that I had. And oh my God, you guys! Can I just tell you guys, I am so happy. Thank you so much to all my new subscribers and your very kind words. And we got names. That's right. This very lovely commenter here named them. So Roxy and Gamora. Say hi, Roxy and Gamora. I also got to figure out a way to get them in the background so we can see them. And this is, I'm going to try to change this daily, but it didn't happen today. Also, I had another commenter say that I should do a narcissistic parent bingo card, and I think I almost jumped through the roof with excitement. Oh my gosh, what a genius idea. We are so going to start doing that. But today, I do want to say, I want to put a little bit of a warning on this video. Today we are going to be talking about childhood trauma. It is something that I want us to really take seriously and be a part of this channel. It's one of the things that I'm very passionate about because I lived through it. And so I feel like I can maybe be there for others that maybe are struggling, or we can just struggle together. Bottom line, basically, is just I want this to be a support group for people that have suffered with things kind of like I have. I can't speak to other things that I haven't been through, but I can to those that I have. I have a really fucked up childhood, you guys. It's insane. And I promise I'm going to tell you guys about it someday. It's just, it really needs to be written out. I've mentioned this before. I don't use a script. So that is something that I am going to have to write from like start to finish to really be able to make sure that I articulate my words right, because I stumble on my words a lot. I ramble a lot. I want that to be really, really well put together. So we will get there. I do want this to be a safe spot for people that have suffered with that stuff. That's why I do want to make sure that we have these videos, if not once a week, at least maybe once every 2 weeks. Okay. So that is going to be today's video. We are going to be talking about some very serious things with child abuse, and that is in a lot of different ways. Childhood trauma can come in many forms. It could be physical. It could be, sexual. It can be emotional, and you don't have to be a child. It can go way into your teens, your late teens, even your early 20s. And I do, again, want to just say thank you so much to all my new subscribers, you guys. I am so excited that I feel like I've made the right choice doing this. I really feel that way. It means a lot to me. I look like crap today. I can just tell looking at the camera. I look terrible. I look pale. My lips look pale. I'm drinking tea, for the love of God. I don't drink tea. I hate tea. I am very pro coffee. But when I'm sick, and look how adorable my Disney cup is. When I am sick, I can't drink like all the milk and the sugar and all that. I just can't. So I'm drinking tea. I haven't even tasted it yet. I don't even know it. It just tastes like water. The very first thing that I did want to point out is this right here. So this is a daily depression worksheet. Now this you might look at and maybe kind of scoff or be kind of like, it can't be that bad. Trust me, it can be. I have been here. These little check marks, get out of bed. That is something that at my darkest points, I couldn't even do. I couldn't even get out of bed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I wanted to just lay there and let the darkness take me over, basically. Get dressed for the day. Also something that I never did. What's the point of getting dressed? What's the point of life? What's the point of, brush your teeth, take a shower's on there. That was the next thing I was going to say. I did usually always brush my teeth though, because like I said, I'm a big coffee drinker. And if I don't brush my teeth, it tastes nasty. But I would go days without showering. It was really, really bad. And I'm really, really thankful and grateful that I have gotten to a point now where I was able to climb out a little bit further out of the darkness. But this kind of stuff is real. And these people, we need to be there for them. If you're in this right now, I know it might be kind of cliche, but you can get out. I promise you can. Let's start with our actual first post. So this is Reddit and this is childhood trauma. I highly recommend that you go and you subscribe there if that's something that you're interested in or you suffer with. There's like-minded people here and you can all just come together. Our first post comes from Inzu, traumatic memories interfering with daily life. I had a weird childhood. Split parents, sexual abuse from stepdad, and then physical abuse from my biological dad when I went to visit him. The sexual abuse happened from, I think, 5 to 12. I say I think because obviously when you go through a significant amount of childhood trauma, you don't recover all the memories. That's very true. I find that I find pieces later on in life as I go through it. My problem here is that I can't sleep or really do anything anymore. Oh, I did also want to mention, you might have seen it in the last video. I take notes while I'm reading these so that I can offer my advice in a little bit more of a cohesive way. Oh, my nose is so runny. And I'm not even crying yet. It's just runny from being sick. Either I'm using apps like TikTok and Reddit to distract myself from thinking about things, or I'm lying in my bed trying to sleep. But I can't because all I can repeat in my head is what happened to me as a kid. Literally a voice saying, you were molested as a kid, you were abused as a kid, you went through hell as a kid, and you didn't even know it. These things going through my head, graphic memories of what happened, plaguing my brain. I just can't get it to stop, and it won't let me sleep. I'm not necessarily asking for tips like take sleeping medication, because to me that feels like a band-aid solution. I agree. I've been told to not listen to my thoughts after it gets dark just because of how tired you are. You shouldn't listen or trust yourself too much. But that's not the problem. The problem is that these thoughts are like worrying through my head all the time, and it gets me distracted from work, sleeping, relaxing. I don't know what to do or think about it. So I will say, and I'm going to segue into some really dark stuff here that's really depressing. I can relate to the very end there because I was actually raped by a few different men when I was younger. My parents basically ran a drug den, which I realized growing up that different people would just come and go like every weekend. And my parents were doing really hardcore drugs and they were selling them. Again, something I did not realize till I got older. Well, in that time, there was a few different men that came in and had their way with me. And I think I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. My parents had no idea. And it's something to this day they still have no idea about. As I got older, I didn't think too much about it until I got to like my early 20s and I met my would-be husband. Then, whenever we tried to be intimate or we tried to have any type of time together, I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened in these men. And I eventually broke down. I couldn't take anymore. And I had to tell him because I was like, I can't see anything except them anytime I'm with him. He, was very supportive. And then that was kind of where we started the journey of my recovery. And that was like 20 years ago. So you really don't ever find a cure to your abuse and your depression, but you can learn to live above it and not let it rule your life. And the first step to that is what I would tell her is you really do need to get help. I know I used to hate when people told me that, like, no, I don't need help. I don't need to go to a psychiatrist. They don't get it. What are they going to know? But they really do help. And having people that are supportive around you too, which I'm not sure if this person does or not, but that also helps, having a really strong support system as well. Literally just got an update from NARC parents as I'm talking about this. Another thing I wanted to say was, yeah, I couldn't sleep either. You can't just tell somebody, well, just don't think about it. When we lay down and go to bed, no matter whether you suffer from traumas or not, that's the time when all of our thoughts just kind of start going. So in closing, Inzu, I would just say you need to go get help. It really does help. You need to find, that's the first step that you need to do, is either talk to somebody and tell them about this stuff that's very trusted to you, like that you would trust with your life, and also to get help. So this one is more of just a question than like a post of somebody talking about something horrible that's happened to them. It's from Melodic Lime 688, and it says, what do you miss the most from your childhood? For me, it's not have been able to have a safe environment that allowed me to be myself, even though having decent clothes would have been nice too. What did other people say? I want to see. I miss the ability to be a child. Yeah, 100%. I was forced to grow up way too fast and take on too much responsibility too early. It's funny. I actually have another story about that too, is my mom made me cook dinner for my dad when I was 13 years old. I was 13 and she was so terrified because she was going to be not able to be home going somewhere. I don't really know where she was going for the day or the night and not be able to cook dinner. She was so terrified of not being able to cook this man dinner. She made her 13-year-old daughter do it, who didn't even know what she was doing. I think I like scrambled some eggs or something because that was all I knew how to do. And I made some toast, eggs and toast, and I gave it to him. And I remember he wouldn't eat it because he thought it was gross. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. I'm 13. I'm 13 and you're a grown man. Go make yourself something to eat. Go drive down the street to Burger King. Like, why am I making you dinner? It's so pathetic. I wish I could have experienced a carefree childhood without having to keep my guard up all the time at such a young age. I feel this so much. Like, yeah, me too. I wish I could have experienced just being a child. Just being safe and being a child. I wish that I had that too. Okay, so our next post comes from Positive Frequencies. Parents both were addicted to heroin while I was in high school. I feel like I was robbed of my childhood and had to raise my sisters. Because the ages of 14 through 17, my parents were hardcore, strung out on heroin, stealing from their kids, taking money from me and my job in McDonald's, and stealing and taking money from my grandparents, whom we lived with because we lost our house. I could never hang out with any of my friends because I had to watch my sisters, the youngest of which was just an infant and second youngest being a toddler. It's hard to hold no resentment for them taking those crucial years away from me. I can relate. Again, I can relate. I was in the same situation basically because I was the oldest and I had two younger sisters. One sister is like 13 years younger than me and the other's like 15 years younger. So that was something that I figured out later on too, like, well, my parents never really pursued me to follow any of my dreams after high school. They used to always tell me the things I was interested in were silly and that you're never going to make any money doing those and blah, blah, blah. And then it hit me like, stop, like a freaking truck. Like, wait a minute, they didn't want me to do anything because they wanted me to stay home to take care of the kids. Oh my gosh, duh. Like, I can't believe it took me that long to figure it out. After I did actually move out of my parents' house and started living with my husband, I remember it was very hard for my mom to like understand that like I didn't live at the house anymore because she still expected me to like, oh, can you run by the house and like take the chicken out of the freezer? Or can you like stop by the house and take the laundry out of the laundry, just fold it. So like, it's almost like she didn't realize like, yeah, mom, I don't live there anymore. So the first few times I like did it because, you know, I'm like, okay, sure. But I remember one time she called and I was in the car with my husband. We were driving somewhere. I think it was like 8 or 9 in the morning. It was really early. And we were on our way to have breakfast with some friends that we worked with. And my mom called and she's like, hey, I need you to, go get your sister out of school and take her to her dentist appointment. And I was like, well, I can't, Mom. I'm on my way to have breakfast with our friends. Now, this wasn't something she ever asked me, like, or told me previous, like, well, hey, you know, they need to go to their dentist appointment. Is it okay? Like, can you save time on that day to do it? That wouldn't have been a problem. But this was just out of the blue. She just called and asked. And I was like, well, I'm busy. I have plans, Mama. And she was like, okay. And then her tone totally changed. She's like, I guess I'll just have to call and cancel their appointment, rearrange their appointment or something. And the way she said it was so snarky and mean. And it's like, I should have said something there, but I've always been so terrified of my parents. And I just never can find my voice with them. And I didn't say anything. I think I just said something like, well, I'm sorry. But she was so angry that I would not take her daughter to the dentist. And that was something that happened a lot until it finally, I just refused to ever do anything for her. And then I think she kind of just stopped asking because her daughters graduated from high school, so she didn't need my help anymore. But there were a lot of times when it was like, I don't care what you're doing in your life. You need to go and pick up your sisters from this and you need to take them here. Okay, so here we have a live guest, 5819, core memories from a bad childhood. So this is a long one, everyone. Just sit back and get comfortable. Core memories from my childhood include calling 911 on my dad while watching him smash my mom's head into the faucet of the bathtub. I was maybe 4 or 5. I didn't make the call. I hid behind my older sister. Man, you know what? That bingo card would have been really appropriate for this video too. She was 7 or 8 as she made the call. I don't remember what happened in between the police arriving, My next memory is my dad cuffed, police leaving the room, and mom just going feral and attacking dad. 5-year-old me sided with mom. You probably did too. I don't know who was right. They're probably saying you probably would have too. Sure. I mean, I understand that. She was a drunk most of her life. She drove drunk with her 2 little girls in the car. I remember sitting in my room with the door shut. A silent house suddenly full of angry footsteps. Maybe the slamming of dishes in the sink, mom muttering to herself. And then she would burst through the door to my room, rage-filled on a tangent about what terrible, unhelpful children we were. How ungrateful we were. How we took advantage of her. How she should just kill herself and put herself out of her misery. 10 years old, and I had to beg my mom not to kill herself after just taking a mental beating of what a bad daughter I was. No matter how many tears I cried or how much I pleaded with her, there was no stopping her. She would leave the house in a drunk rage, screeching out of the driveway. I was the youngest. I was usually the last culprit on the list. Dad was first. He would get mad and leave to avoid hitting her. My sister was next. She fought back. She would tell mom she was a bad mom and wouldn't take the guilt mom tried to put on her. She would usually get a friend or a boyfriend to come pick her up. Then there was me. She told me how much she hated her life, how much she wanted to end it, how we were the reason. That's so sad. How I should never have kids because they ruin your life. Oh, what a coincidence. My dad told me that too. I never had the heart to fight back. I just absorbed all her sadness and apologized for being a bad daughter. I would hug her leg, sobbing as she stumbled to the door with her keys, begging her not to leave me, and she always did. I was left alone in that house so much. My sister and I both were. It just hurt so much more when she would leave too. I hated her for it. I blamed my sister and dad because they kept fighting with mom. Why couldn't they just tiptoe around her like I did so we could all be happy? I was mom's biggest defender. All of elementary and high school, I lied about my family. I acted like my parents cared if I made bad grades. Acted like they cared how late I stayed out, but they didn't. I lied and said they did have jobs. I lied and said it was a campfire smoke that my jacket smelled like, not mom's cigarettes. I'm a pathological liar when it comes to my parents. That's something that I think a lot of people that are abuse survivors do, like in the case of parents though. We do lie about that stuff because we're ashamed for multiple reasons. We're ashamed that our parents were like that. We're ashamed our life was like that. We're ashamed that maybe we're not strong enough to stand up against it. The lies spill out before I realize it. My defense mechanism that everyone saw through. I was trying to save face, but all it did was make me a liar. I don't know where the shame for my family started. I just know they were different in a bad way. In a way that would make people judge me in a negative light before they ever spoke to me. And even when they did speak to me, I was already starting out less just because of where I came from. It's not in my head. It's small town Louisiana. My parents smoked weed in the house. My mom smoked cigarettes in the house. My mom was also a pain pill addict, also an alcoholic. My mom got 2 DWIs with me and my sister in the car. I watched both my parents get arrested. CPS was called on us. I don't recall much from my childhood. My memories really fill up around junior high. I'll never do mushrooms because I don't want to see what I think my brain is protecting me from. I just want to be happy and not let my past weigh on me. I wish I had a normal childhood. I wish the voices in my head didn't mimic the voice of my judgmental, alcoholic, depressed mother. I wish my brain didn't jump to ending it would be easier. I wish my parents hadn't scarred me before I ever had a chance. That hits hard right there. I wish people didn't look down on my parents. I wish I didn't look down on my parents. I dated a boy for 4 years. He cheated on me in the end. Broken, I asked, why? He said, I was always thinking of being with other girls, and with your family, it never would have worked. That sentence broke me. I thought he loved me. I thought I could trust him. Every insecurity I've ever had about myself and my family was justified in my eyes. Everything I had been afraid of my whole life, of people not accepting me, not because of something I did, rather than just because of who I am. I have faults, so many. I'm too sensitive, me too. I take everything to heart, me too. I let my emotions control me, yeah, me too. And have a tendency to be overdramatic. Overdramatic? Me? I'm meanest to the people who show me the most love, because I can't be mean to the people who are mean to me, or they'll just have more ammo to use against me. So I take it out on the ones who show me they care, or on unsuspecting restaurant managers or Yelp reviews. It's backwards and twisted, but I'm all twisted up and I don't know how to let it go. When I was first getting help after I kind of told my husband everything that was going on, I turned to alcohol as a way to cope, and I became very violent and mean with him. And thank God he's a very strong man, very strong person, because instead of running away, he was able to help me. And that's why I say all the time, my husband saved my life. This poor person is going down that same path. And it's true. You take it out on everyone else because you can't take it out on the person that did it to you. I don't know why. There's something when it comes to trauma from our own parents that it makes it feel like we can't express to them what they've done and how we feel. And I don't know why. I don't know if maybe it's because we are scared of our parents, because we know what they're capable of and we've seen them at their worst. She said that her dad was abusive and punched her mom or pushed her into a faucet. I have seen my dad hold a gun to my mom. So I think that these are the things, like I have seen my mom, beat bats and brooms and stuff, beat them on furniture over chairs when she got mad at us. So you think, well, that could be me if I make them mad enough. So you tend to take your anger out on people that you know aren't going to do that to you. And it's an ugly, ugly, vicious cycle. Again, to this person, I would say I hope that you have a therapist or that you get into therapy or talk to somebody. There is a lot of hurt here. There's a lot of trauma here that really needs to be talked about with a professional. And I'm thinking of you, and I'm hoping for you that everything's fine, and don't ever let them win. And you know what I mean. Don't. So this one comes from Magazine Perfect 7511. I can't accept what happened to me, and it makes me feel so awful. It feels so terrible because I want to get better, but I honestly don't feel brave enough to tell my doctor about it. I'm scared I'll be laughed at and told it wasn't that bad, told I had a good childhood, and that I'm just dramatic for attention. I'm so terrified of this being true, and it keeps me up at night. I am very, very sorry, Magazine Perfect. And I understand, and it is scary, but you have to do it. Your therapist isn't going to laugh at you. They're not going to think that you're lying or making things up. I just read a little snippet here. I certainly don't think you're lying about anything. So don't be scared to open up to somebody that you really, really trust about the stuff that happened in your childhood and the things that you need to talk about. That's what they're there for, and they really do help. I promise you, they really do help. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. These kinds of videos I think are very important. They're very hard, but they're very important. And hopefully if you're struggling, you take something away from this. If you are struggling with issues, I really, really do want you to get help. I want you to talk to somebody you trust. I want you to talk to a therapist. And I want you to know that it can get better. So that's it for today. I am going to go lay on the couch and drink my poisoned tea until I'm feeling better. Hopefully I'm feeling better tomorrow. I love you guys. Like I always say, stay strong. Don't forget to do whatever makes you most happy in life. And I will see you next time. Bye.